to this week's Joe Cooks. This week we're going to be making beef stew and dumplings. For this one, it'd be handy to have a pan that you can put in an oven. This one's great for the oven. It's got steel handles and that. I'm not too sure about the lid, but I don't need the lid in the oven. And yeah, we're going to be using the hob and we're going to be using the oven. So what I'm going to do, there'll be a full list of ingredients in the description as normal. And yeah, let's crack on. I'm going to be putting 20 grams of low fat spread in this pan. And I'm just going to put that on the hob to melt while we do a little bit of prep. There's not much prep work involved in this one anyway, so it's really easy, really quick. You just got to be patient while it cooks, because it cooks quite slowly. What I'm going to be using is a 5% beef. I got this one reduced from Iceland. This is going to be the most expensive ingredient in this dish. It's quite cheap anyway, it's quite cheap. And what I've got here is 20 grams of flour. Now I'm going to season the flour with some salt and some pepper. Then I'm going to take the beef and I'm going to chuck it in the flour and that. Just chuck it in. All the time. Our butter's melting, that's nice. We'll move over to the cooker once I've done this little bit, and I'll have a quick run through the other ingredients with you then we're good. So yeah, we just want to toss this in the flour. Get it nicely coated with it. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just nicely coated. That's good enough. That's good enough. I'm going to put that to one side. And basically, apart from slicing a couple of onions and making half a pint of stock with one of these stock cubes, that's basically the prep done. And the rest of the ingredients, cheap as chips. 500 grams of a casserole mix, frozen one from Iceland. I think it was £1 a bag, and you get a kilo or a kilo and a half or whatever it's in there. A couple of 100 grams of sliced mushrooms. Frozen again, Iceland, £1 a bag. Some chopped garlic. And for the flavours, I'm going to be using a splash of lean pounds, 20 grams of tomato puree, a couple of bay leaves, small handful of mixed herbs, small handful of thyme, and some salt and pepper. Right, we'll move over to the cooker now, we'll get it on, and yeah, we'll get this set up, we'll get it cooking, we'll move on to making more dumplings, and it's basically done. It's just a waiting game. It takes about 2.5 to 3 hours in total to cook. That's the downside of a stew, but the clue's in its name, and it's got a stew in its own juice. So anyway, we'll move over to the cooker, we'll get set up, and we'll get cooking. Right, we're over by the cooker. The butter's beginning to bubble and that. And the first thing we want to do is get our meat, the stuff that we tossed in the flour, and just chuck it in. This hob's on quite high, it's on number 5. So I will be turning it down. But for now, we'll just keep it on high and just let this meat brown up a little bit. Look, I've got a piece of skate in there. And let it soak up all this butter. Doesn't matter if it sticks a little bit, that's fine, that's fine. But we'll give this a couple of minutes. Put in the comments, tell us how you make your stews and that, and what you've put in. I mean, a stew is different from one end of the country to another, I think, like. And basically, it's a cut of meat, loads of veggies, bit of juice, boil it up, simmer it. Job's a good one, job's a good one. We'll be making some nice dumplings to go in it and that, and yeah, it's great. I love it. Right, The meat's had a few minutes to brown off and that. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to start going in with the other ingredients. Start going with my garlic. Doesn't matter which order these go in. I mean, some people like build them up in stages and that, and I don't really care. Just chuck it in and hope for the best. Tomato puree. Chuck the onions in. I think this mix has already got onions in, but I'm not sure, so I'll put an extra one in. Anyway, put this in, mixed veg. All that stuff that was sticking on the bottom will come off now because the steam will steam it off. Mushrooms. Go in with the stock. Good splash of Lean Pounds. Brings anything to life, yo, Lean Pounds. Small handful of thyme, that'll do for me. Small handful of mixed herbs. Still quite hot here today, like it's the back end of the summer, I think. Give this a good stir in. I say it's a patience game, you just gotta be patient. 5 minutes to prepare, 2 hours to cook or so. Well, that's fine, that's fine. Got nothing better to do. I was going to relax today anyway, so I just let it do its thing. Let it do its thing. Right, into this, I'm going to stick 2 bay leaves. Hopefully I'll find them when it's finished. If not, then I'll certainly find it when I'm eating. And that's it. I'm going to put the lid on. I'm going to boil it up. I'm going to simmer it for about 20 minutes. Then I'll turn it down to about number 1, number 2. And I'll let it sit there for basically 2 hours. In the meantime, we'll move over. We'll do with dumplings and that. And yeah, job's a good one. Job's a good one. Right, for the dumplings, really, really easy. Really simple, these dumplings. They're lovely as well. They're lovely as well. What I'm going to do in my big bowl, I'm going to just weigh out 150 grams of self-raising flour. I love a dumpling, me, like, this is why I wanted to make the stew, to be honest with you. I haven't had a dumpling for years. I'm just going to keep the bag handy, because I'll need it again, because I need to go in with my hands to knead it together. And I'm going to put 50 grams of beef suet. I'm using this one, a Tora. I think it's the only one you can get, to be honest with you. I got this one in Asda, and it was the only shop I could find really that had it. So 50 grams. I mean, people make dumplings always, but I think this one is a traditional beef stewy dumpling. It's what I can remember when I was a kid anyway. I don't make them that often because they're quite high in fat, but I really wanted one, so. And into there, I'm just going to put a small handful of mixed herbs, just to give it a bit of fleck, just to make the dumplings look a bit more interesting. Right, I'm going to move that out of the way. And I'm going to give it a good mix together. You could probably do that with your fingers, to be honest with you. But just like the pizza dough, I'm going to mix it with water, but I'm going to use the fork as far as I can. Then I'll have to get it with my hands. But a good dumpling dough is pretty sticky anyway, so I'll go in with about half the water. I won't use it all to start with, because you can always put it in, but you can't take it out. That's the type of rule I try to work out in here. And I'll just mix it as far as I can get with the fork. If I need more water, I need more water. We'll give it a fair go first, like. And you could do this with a food processor. If you had a food processor, it'd take a couple of seconds. But I haven't got the proper door handle, and it doesn't work properly. It just makes a mess. Right, I've got as far as I can with the fork. I'm just going to flour my fingers. Like I said, this stuff can be really sticky. And I'm just going to go in and I'm just going to try and knead it. Just like making the pizza dough or the short crust pastry. Exactly the same way, just push it together. Its natural moisture will start picking itself up and you'll end up with a nice dough. I need some more water. That's better. We're cooking on gas now. Well, we're not, we're cooking on electric, but cooking on gas is the staying in it. Right, we'll just keep this a good knead. And once you get it to this stage, just a case of forming your dumplings. I'm going to make 4, so I'll put it into 4. I'll just roll them up. Bit messy, but it's fine. And what I'll do with these, I'll cover them with a towel, and about half an hour before the stew is done, we'll drop them in the stew. So yeah, that's it. Just waiting for the stew now. In a couple of hours we'll come back and we'll see it going into the oven. Right, it's been about 2 hours for me, a couple of seconds for you, and let's have a look. I'm going to take it off the hob now. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Beauty, beauty. I'm going to try and fish my bay leaves out. I can see one there and I can see one there. That's perfect, that's perfect. Right, at this point, if you haven't got an oven-proof thing like this, you can either transfer it into a dish that's oven-proof and carry on, or you can just, or if you're not going to bother with the dumplings, just finish it off on the top. I mean, that's just about ready to eat now anyway. But with the dumplings, what I'm going to do, I've preheated my oven to 180, and these are going to go in the oven for about 35 minutes. I'm just going to put the dumplings in. It's as simple as this. Put the dumplings in, stick it in the oven, come back to 35 minutes, we'll have nice golden brown dumplings, puffed up a little bit, beautiful stew, and we'll wrap this one up. Right, moment of truth time. Let's have a look at this. Oh, look at this. And look at that. What a beauty. What a beauty. Right, we'll have a nice close look at this now. Look at that. Look at that. Fantastic. Like I say, nice and cheap. The whole pot cost about £2.50, £3 maximum. Dumplings, a little bit fatty, yeah, but one dumpling's not going to harm you. Not going to harm you at all. Just don't eat 4 dumplings in it. But yeah, I'd like to thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTubey stuff and that. And yeah, all that's left is serve it up and eat it. So be kind everyone and have a good week, and I'll see you on next week's video. Thank you.